Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Commodity TV here today in Zurich at the Zurich Invest offices. And now I have my last interview partner here, but not the least for today. And we want to talk to Lydian International, a emerging gold producer out of Armenia. And with me here is Howard Stevenson, the president and CEO. Howard, great to have you here. Thanks.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I had a little bit of a look on your website, and honestly, I really like what I saw. So you are going in production this year. Maybe you give us some general facts on the company now.
Yeah, sure. One of the few big gold companies going into production this year. It's obviously it's a mine in Armenia, producing over 200,000 ounces per year at very low costs. As I say, one of a very rare commodity this year. Yeah.
Great, fantastic. So how far is it advanced? When do you think you really start to pour the first gold bar?
So we're about halfway through construction right now. We started construction last year, and we're about halfway through. We're expecting to complete the construction at the end of this year, second half of this year, and then be first gold pour in the autumn, and commercial production towards the end of the year.
Great, fantastic. You mentioned already costs. So what production costs, meaning the AISC, all-in sustaining costs, are you anticipating for the company?
Yeah, well, that's one of the real great things about this company is the all-in sustaining costs are very low at under $600 an ounce. We're estimating around about $580 an ounce, which is very low, as you know, in the mining industry. Very really low. It means we'll generate a lot of cash as a company once we get into production.
What are the reasons why you have such low costs?
Well, there's a few reasons. The mine itself is in the top of a mountain, so everything we do is downhill from there. So our trucks run downhill loaded. We have a conveyor that runs down the mountain to the ADR plant. So everything is downhill, and that means we use less electricity, less fuel. So that's one big reason. And the other big reason is that it's all oxide. So it all recovers very well and very quickly on the leach pad. So those are the two main reasons why we have such a low cost base, and that's what makes this mine so attractive.
At what rates do you recover the gold?
So the first 5 years, gold production will be over 250,000 ounces a year. At the moment, we have a 10-year mine life, and on average over that 10-year mine life, 225,000 ounces a year. So it's a substantial gold mine, quite a large mine, really.
So the mine life initially is fantastic, I would say. Yeah, it's really well set up, but what is afterwards? Yeah,
so we have a 10-year mine life. We have had some difficulty doing the exploration drilling on this deposit because of the characteristics of the rock. So we haven't been able to drill anything that's really deeper than 250 meters. But we know that this deposit goes to 400 meters and probably even deeper. And so that really represents the upside for the deposit. And as we get some cash flow, and certainly as we drop the level of the mountain, we'll be able to drill some of those deeper areas and be able to continue adding to the life of the mine. And it's certainly easy to see 15 years. I think everybody can see 15 years, and probably 20 years is possible. So,
which has to be proven, of course, but the signs are very positive, I would say, right?
Yep.
Because otherwise it's a forward-looking statement. We have to pay attention on that. Sure. Yeah, at what grades will you mine them? Meaning also what head grades will you achieve in the mill? Sure.
So the head grade on the average over the life is 0.79 grams per ton. And as I said, the recoveries, though, are very high. So that's not a very high grade, an intermediate grade, but very high recoveries. So we're expecting the recoveries to be 87%.
Nice.
Yeah, so very, very high recoveries. And that, again, is leading to the low costs.
So how much money have you invested, and how have you financed the whole mine?
Yeah, so the capital estimate right now is $425 million. That financing is largely in place. We have $250 million of senior credit facility, and then $60 million of stream, and the rest coming from equity from our shareholders. So, as I say, largely in place now. We have one small piece of financing to raise and to organize, and then we're complete.
And what interest rates do you have to pay?
Oh, the interest rate is very variable. So it ranges from 11%. On some of the higher cost, smaller facilities, down to sort of LIBOR plus 6 on some of the bigger facilities.
Yeah, but I mean, with your margin, that's really doable.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Coming to your margin, to me it looks like this will be like a cash cow, like a cash spitting machine, honestly, yeah, because with almost $600 of costs, and today gold is 1,348 or something, yeah. I mean, call it a easy $700 margin then. What will you do with the money? First of all, you have to pay back the debt, but do you pay dividends in the future?
Yeah, so we're starting to talk about that as a board. Obviously, you know, the debt is out for 3 years, so we're still 4 years away from that, but certainly it will produce a lot of cash. And then we'll have to decide, are we going to pay dividends? That certainly is a possibility. Or are we going to invest that money? There'll be some investment in exploration, obviously. But then are we going to invest in growing the company, or are we just going to cash cow and pay dividends? So we haven't really made that decision yet, but certainly that is an option.
But you are discussing that. That's important for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, super. Who are your main shareholders, and especially what is management share in the company?
Yeah, so the major shareholders today would be RCF, Resource Capital Funds out of Denver, and then Orion Mine Finance out of New York. They are provided the bulk of the financing, and so they're the major shareholders, and between them they own about 47% of the company. And then below that we have some institutions. We have the EBRD in there at 6% as well, so support from the IFIs as well. So yeah, that's really the capital structure.
And management share?
Management share is fairly low, so we don't have a big stake in the company. We're around about 1%.
Okay. Good, but maybe to raise this in the future.
Yeah, well, certainly. And I mean, I've bought a lot of shares in the market. I haven't been given any shares by the company. I've bought a lot of shares in the shares that I own. I've bought in the market as we've gone through the last 4 years. So.
Okay. Of course, I would love to address Armenia as a as a country, of course. How is it working in there? How is the setup of the country? Saying tax legislation, mining laws, security, and stuff like that. Sure.
Well, that's a really important question to answer, because it's a lot of people don't know anything about Armenia because it's not a big mining destination. So for us, it's been a very good jurisdiction to work in. It's a very small country. And normally in mining, you would want to fly under the radar and not make a big splash. But in Armenia, that's not an option because it's such a small economy. We'll be the largest foreign investment in the country since its independence in 1991. Wow. Okay. And so we are definitely on the radar screen. We'll make a big impact on GDP. We'll be a big contributor to taxes for the country. We'll create not a lot of jobs, but certainly 700 jobs, which does make a difference. Absolutely. And so creating exports, creating tax base, bringing in foreign investment, all of those things are things that the government is trying to do. So the government has been very supportive. Most people that you probably interview would talk about their permitting process being a multi-year permitting process.
Nevada, 3.5, 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. Ours was permitted in 4 months.
Wow.
So that's the trade-off, between being a small country and so on. You the government is very supportive, and things get done very quickly. And so, yeah, it's been a great place to work. We have great relationships with local communities. We have nobody living on the mine, but people living around it. We'll be offering them jobs and training and development and so on for the community. So, yeah, for us, it's been a great place to do business.
Fantastic. How about the environmental management there?
Well, that's really, it gives me a lot of pleasure to talk about that, because that's one of the things that Lydian, and it's not just me, even before me, has done very well. We are really, in terms of where Lydian is at as a developing company, we are outstanding in terms of our environmental and sustainability processes, things that we've done, and our strategies. And we have, for example, we'll be setting up a national park in Armenia to offset the footprint of the mine and ensure that critical habitat is maintained for endangered species. So, I mean, things like that have not been done by companies at our level of development. And so we really are trying to lead the way, and we certainly are doing that in Armenia, but even worldwide. So
you're planting trees, like, to set off the CO2 footprint and stuff like that, right?
Well, yes, so we're doing some of that, but more important, we have critically endangered plants, which only live on our mountain and are not found found anywhere else, or very few other places in Armenia. We have the biggest population. We have brown bears, which are endangered and particularly of concern to the EBRD. And so we're creating an area of protected critical habitat so that those species have somewhere that will be undisturbed, even if we impact them with mining. So it's that kind of thing.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds really that you are responsible for social, for environmental, for the whole value chain, I would call it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Howard, thank you very much for the interview. That was really interesting because it was the first time you were here with us, and also Armenia. Honestly, I had also no idea. And so, we want to see you in production next second half of the year, and please keep us updated.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Howard Stevenson, the president and CEO of Lydian International, and you heard it, the company is on the way to go in production this year to ramp up full commercial production by end of the year. 225,000 ounces of gold they are planning to produce out of Armenia, actually a very supportive country for mining. They are the biggest foreign investment in the country, but they are also very responsible for social and environmental affairs, and this is exactly how it should be. Treat the nature well. When you are mining, then you do everything right and take care of the people. So I would suggest check out the company. Thanks for watching us. Bye bye from Zurich.